up. He makes the catch. Are you kidding me?
5の型寒天の銃
さあこれからが本番だ。
Welcome to the 3Cast, the podcast where we talk about three of the biggest topics in pop culture: sports, video games, and anime. I hope everyone's having a good day today. NFL Week 2. The second week of the NFL season is wrapped up in the books, and boy, do we have a good one. A lot of interesting games happening. I hope y'all enjoyed watching, your favorite team or whoever played. But we got a lot to get into. First game I want to talk about are the Chiefs and the Eagles game. The Chiefs end up losing this game 17-20 to the Philadelphia Eagles. And I know this is a thing that people have been talking about, is the Chiefs go 0-2 on the season, which apparently is obviously it's not good. The Chiefs have a bad start, but I think people are comparing this to maybe last year or the year before that, where they had another 0-2 start where they went bad, but they did bounce back and end up making the playoffs. So it's something that shouldn't be concerning when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, because he's a very known household name. But in terms of why they lost this game, okay, let's talk about it. So, oh man, so where do we even begin? Let's begin with the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes goes 16 of 29 for 187 total yards. So it sounds like through the air, Patrick Mahomes did not really do that well. He passed the ball a lot, 29 times, a lot of incompletions, and it just, I don't know, it just wasn't happening when it comes to in the air or something like that. Seems like he's been struggling for the past two games. Maybe it's probably the pressure of them just, coming off of a Super Bowl loss, which I'm not surprised. Yeah, that's a lot to live up to. A lot of high expectations from Patrick Mahomes. He also had a touchdown, rushing touchdown for and an interception, which he only had one interception throughout the day. Not too bad, but whenever you are underperforming like this, you really don't want to give up the ball in crucial situations. He had 66 rushing yards. This is the third game that Patrick Mahomes has went under 200 passing yards in the last 8 games, including the playoffs. And a lot of what the Chiefs' under success has been is their defense. Their defense obviously is very lacking when it comes to overall performance, especially in the secondary. And the defense, the lack thereof, is definitely contributing to the losses of these last 8 games, including the playoffs. I don't know what they can do to recover this, but it doesn't look good. It seems like the defense in this game gave up a lot of sacks. I don't know really if it was a lot, but at least they gave up some sacks. Really not good. Ball protection was horrible. Offensive line protection, it seems like the defense was just getting to Patrick Mahomes very easily. But that's also brings up a good point. Is it a bad O-line, or was just the Eagles' defensive line just really good like that? In terms of the Eagles' performance, Saquon and Jalen Hurts both had rushing touchdowns in this game. When it comes to Saquon, he is very he's a dominant player. He might, I don't know, the way that people are talking about him, he's one of the best running backs of, you know, this I don't know, it seems like this season so far in the NFL. I mean, he's really doing his thing. In terms of Jalen Hurts, we know that he's good with passing the ball, and when he needs to get into, you know, rushing situations, when he needs to use his legs, then he can do that. He's very versatile quarterback. So don't really sleep on Jalen Hurts. And it seems like the defense is what came through clutch for the Eagles at the end of the game. They had a interception and returned for a touchdown to seal the game. It's just, that was the big difference in between these two teams. One of them had a defense that played very veteran style, like they were used to this, and the other team just seems like they had something to prove in terms of the Chiefs and couldn't get it done. Maybe they're stuck in their own head trying to live up to expectations, like I said earlier, coming off of a Super Bowl, and it was a Super Bowl loss too. So the Chiefs really need to get it together. But like I said earlier, I'm not really concerned that they would miss the playoffs. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I mean, considering the division they're in, their division is really lackluster when it comes to who's in it. So I'm really not concerned that they're going to not make the playoffs. But if they want to be playoff contenders and make it to the deep in the playoffs, especially to the AFC Championship, then they need to perform like a playoff team, which means that they need to do way better with the ball and get that defense right. Will Patrick Mahomes really prove himself in these next couple of games and silence the critics about being on fraud alert? I don't know, maybe, but it seems like he is on fraud alert. Can Kermit the Frog really prove himself and sip that tea and prove all these haters wrong? That he is not just an ordinary quarterback. We know he can hang with the best. We know he can hang with the Joe Burrows, with the Lamar Jacksons in the league. We've seen it. That's usually how it comes down to in the AFC. It usually just comes down to, you know, certain quarterbacks, and he is one of them. So can he prove himself that he can overcome obstacles, the doubters, the haters? We're just gonna have to see. And it would be very interesting for him to, you know, turn it around and you know, finally get a win under his record, because that's all you really need when it comes to any sports entertainment. You just need that one win, you know what I'm saying? Boost confidence in the locker room, you know, boost confidence in your teammates and yourself, and the entire, you know, and the fan base as well. So you just need that one win, get it under your belt, you know what I'm saying, and just move on, you know, and move forward from there. All right. So, possibly the game that is the very interesting game to me. I don't know if it's game of the week. We'll get to that in a minute. But this other game, this Dallas versus Giants game, you know what I'm saying, it was very entertaining. It was a shootout, which I wasn't expecting a shootout to be on the other side of the ball when it came to the Giants, but the Giants kind of did their thing. Did it give me hope in the Giants franchise? Probably not. But they really did, you know, but it's also a divisional game, so division rivals are always going to fight hard no matter what. But let's get to these stats. I really don't have a lot for the Giants stats. So let's talk about that first. Russell Wilson goes 450 yards, total yards in the game, with 140 passing yards, and he also throws 2 picks and 3 touchdowns. On paper, that does look good. It really does. But I don't think the Giants as a franchise are good enough to beat very, like, good teams. Now Dallas is a very mediocre team. I'm not saying they're great, but they are good when they want to be. And I don't think the Giants are very good enough as a team to cover that. They never been any type of good when it comes to their franchise. They always been, in terms of their division, they've always been like maybe number 2 or number 3. Probably number 3, because they're always better than the Commanders, but they're just under the Eagles. So when it comes to that, but being number 3 doesn't make the playoffs. So, but like I said earlier, these numbers look good. Russell Wilson's numbers, they do look amazing. But ultimately, they did lose the game. Let's go into Dallas's performance. This was a okay performance. But the main thing about Dallas is their defense sucks. They need to find a way to make this defense better, because if they were playing a good team, a solid team, they're not winning this game. They do it to themselves. And it seems like I don't know, man. I don't know what's up with this defense, but they give up a lot. The defense in this game gives up 41 points in the first 7 drives, and each drive that they gave up led to a score. So this defense just needs a lot of help when it comes to a lot. Was giving up Micah Parsons worth it? It's still too early to say. But it is only week 2. We're just gonna have to find out. If next week, regardless of the performance of the Dallas Cowboys, if they play good, great, bad, or horrible, regardless of how they play, their defense is gonna let me know if they deserve to make it to the playoffs or not. Because at least this offense and Dak Prescott has shown that their offense are capable of making the plays that they need to make. But it's their defense who just underperforms. So the defense's performance next week, this next game, will show me if the defense is really hungry for this football team, and if they really want to make the playoffs. I'm not so okay. Dallas may make the playoffs. I'm not gonna be surprised if they do. They usually get eliminated first or second round anyway. But depending on this defense, if they don't get it together, they might not even make the playoffs entirely. And if they do, they just might get eliminated the first round. I wouldn't be surprised. But they got to get it together. But Dallas does also struggle when it comes to finding wide receivers and the weapons that they need to gain the offense. Yes, their performances so far have been amazing. Offenses have been amazing. They have been playing very mediocre teams, like I said, but they just don't have weapons. That's what they really don't have as weapons. And of course, with Jerry Jones's draft situation and the way that he picks his players, he's very picky on it. I discussed that, last week or the week before that he's very selective on who he wants to bring into Dallas. So that may contribute to the way that the receivers perform. The only weapon they really do have is CeeDee Lamb when it comes to receiving, but he has a drop pass or two every now and then. Like last week, CeeDee Lamb did have a drop pass that maybe would have been the game winner to it, but we just really don't know. But when there's a lot of pressure on him, and he's really the only one that they're really relying on to carry this receiving core, it's a lot of pressure, and there's a lot to look up to, and there's a lot of nervousness in it. So it very well could be that he may have to carry the team, him and Dak. If the defense can't carry the team, so they just got to get that figured out first. So one step at a time, instead of just trying to change everything all at once. We need to focus on one thing, and one thing only, and it's the defense. We need to get that straightened out first, and maybe we can go somewhere. I want to get into the Steelers versus Seattle game very briefly before I move on to this very last segment, which will be the main segment for the video. But the Steelers and Seattle game, there's really not much to it. The only reason why I do cover Steelers games, Brown games, and Cincinnati games as well, when it comes to the games that are very underperforming, or the games that they play that the teams are very like lackluster, is because those three teams are divisional rivals to my Baltimore Ravens. So I think it's interesting to understand how those three teams perform in their game, when it comes to what numbers they when it comes to what numbers they end up getting in the game. The Steelers end up losing this game 31-17, and it seems like they are going through a similar issue when it comes to, and it seems like a lot of teams in the NFL, the reason, not the sole reason why they lose, but it seems like a lot of teams in the NFL just can't get their defensive situation right, and that's what's going on with the Steelers. They really can't find their defense, which is surprising, because the teams in the NFC North, the Ravens, the Bengals, not really necessarily the Bengals, but the Ravens and the Steelers, specifically those two teams, do pride themselves on defense. Like, it's what they built their whole franchise around. And the fact that the Steelers are struggling on the defensive side of the ball, and they have a very lackluster offensive side of the ball, they just can't get anything rolling. This is also Aaron Rodgers' debut as a Pittsburgh Steeler. So his debut for this game is 18 of 33 passing in the air, which is horrible. It is super bad. It seems like he was just trying to overly throw the ball. And what happened to Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers used to be this amazing quarterback. When you talked about a throwing arm, Aaron Rodgers was the first one to pop up. The way, the speed that he threw it, the efficiency that he threw it, the accuracy that he threw it in. And I just, and Aaron Rodgers just kind of, I don't know, fell off maybe, I don't know, but he's not the performance player that he used to be back in the day, man. And I mean, with age, I guess, if you want to call it that, you really can't fix. It just happens. But he does have a lot of experience. But Aaron Rodgers as a player is very stubborn. He went through a lot of trouble when it came to other teams. So especially with when he was with the Jets, it wasn't really working out over there with the Jets. So, but this is his first start as the Steelers. He throws 2 interceptions. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense allows Seattle to come back despite the horrible performance that they were giving up in this game. They allow the Seattle Seahawks to come back with a performance of 2 interceptions, this Pittsburgh defense allows Seattle Seahawks to come back despite the horrible performance that Seattle was having. Despite the 2 interceptions that Seattle threw, it seemed like the Pittsburgh Steelers defense just allowed this game to get handed to the Seattle Seahawks with a very underperforming defense, like I said earlier. So I don't know how this could happen. And in that comeback victory, Seattle throws for nearly 300 yards, 31 of 17 when it comes to the passer completion rating, and the Steelers end up losing this game. The Steelers just lost it for themselves. They really need to find their identity. Like I said, defense needs to just improve. At this point, I don't know if it's kind of iffy. Like I said earlier, it's kind of like with the Chiefs, right? But the Chiefs are good. The Steelers, I mean, I don't want to call it too early. Maybe they're not making the playoffs. I don't see it happening. That's just me personally. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. If they do make it to the playoffs, it's gonna be first round. It's gonna be a first round knockout. Yeah, I have no high expectations for this team whatsoever. And now, let's get into the finale, the main event of this NFL Week 2 topic that I am very eager to talk about. This Ravens and Browns game ended up being a complete blowout. Not even close. 41-17 Ravens. And I know that this game was very controversial because there was like breaking news about maybe I think the Ravens and Browns got into like some kind of heated argument over something. I really don't really know what it was for. But it was a very heated argument between these two teams. I think it was over the fact that somebody, it was like a draft pick, right? So somebody was supposed to get drafted from the Ravens, and they didn't end up getting drafted from the Ravens. I don't know who this player is, but they didn't end up getting drafted for the Ravens. The Ravens didn't want them, and then the Browns ended up taking them, which is crazy convenient because we play in the same division. So it's kind of funny how that worked out. But the Browns ended up, drafting them or whatever, and I'm guessing either that player or just the whole team as a whole just was offended about it and got into a heated argument with the Ravens. But that was a very crazy thing to happen. That, man, just heated up the entire game. And maybe that had to do with something to do with this Ravens performance. The fact that they put up 41 points, hey, maybe they didn't need this player or something like that. Maybe they were trying to make a statement. And if they were trying to make a statement, man, it was a hell of a statement, bro. 41 points. But let's get into the performance of these teams. The Baltimore Ravens. Okay, Lamar Jackson completed 19 of 29 of his passes, which, I mean, is not really that good per se. Those are really low passing numbers, but this team's performance just carried Lamar Jackson's performance, just standard alone as a quarterback specifically. So it's almost like it really didn't even matter. He goes 225 passing yards for 13 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns this game. So yeah, he did do a lot of passing in the air. His completion rating was bad, but he did a lot with a lot of passing yards, you know what I'm saying? So it was crazy. It was crazy. Their wide receiver Zay Flowers led the Ravens in receiving yards with 75 yards in total. So Zay Flowers is really doing his thing. He's like Zay Flowers might be the top receiving player in this Ravens offense, but let's not forget you have Rashad Bateman, who also can do his thing, and also the tight end Mark Andrews. So don't sleep on Mark Andrews and Bateman because they really are top receivers. It just so happens that Zay Flowers is really going off right. He really went off in this game. Also, this Ravens team is really known for their defense, and their defense gets a 1.5 sacks in this game. Really not that much sacks, but I feel like this defense did make a difference when in terms of the performance of this game. That, that's just in my opinion. And for the final piece of the puzzle, Derrick Henry. We expected Derrick Henry to go off, man. Look at his performance in the last Ravens game. This dude is an amazing addition to the team, considering that this team was built on defense and run first football. This team was built off of physical football. So running the football and defense should be the priority. It's really not. If you really think about it, it's kind of controversial, but we're not going to get into that right now. Derrick Henry rushes for 24 yards. You know, like I said, Derrick Henry is a factor in this in most games. He only rushed for 24 yards in this game, but like I said, he really didn't need to do much considering the performance that the Ravens did. Kind of carried the performance. So, and on offense, when it comes to Lamar Jackson, he really did do the bulk of the work, which is good because we need him to do the bulk of the work. The Browns, on the other hand, which their quarterback was Joe Flacco. Now, this had me like in awe. Like this was cinema. Like the storyline added up. Joe Flacco obviously used to play for the Baltimore Ravens, so this was like kind of like almost like a movie, like a reunion of some sort. And I did see a picture floating around of them two, Lamar Jackson and Joe Flacco, hugging each other or whatever. So it was a great moment, man. It was a great moment, and it was great to see that them two getting together, almost like Joe Flacco was passing the torch down to Lamar Jackson, in a way. Joe Flacco goes 109 yards in the air. With 199 yards in the air, excuse me, which is it's decent. It's decent, but just not good enough. And Judkins, I might have butchered that name. Don't call me on that name. It's a very hard name to say. He leads the team in rushing with 61 yards. Now, if 61 yards is leading the overall team in rushing yards, then that means that you have a problem in the run game in that franchise of Cleveland. I'm not going to say Cleveland has never been good. They've been okay. But the one area that they usually are good at is running sometimes if they have a good running back. So, and the fact that, 61 yards was leading this franchise is telling me that this franchise is starting off in a bad start. Jerry Jeudy has 51 receiving yards in this game. Jerry Jeudy, primary receiver of this team, got the bulk of the yards in terms of receiving, in terms of the reception. So, but like I said earlier, it just wasn't good enough. But also, just like the Ravens on the other side of the football, the Browns defense also had 1.5 sacks. So even though the Browns overall performance was very lackluster, it seems like they was trying to hang in there. It just wasn't enough. It's just Lamar and the Ravens just were too stacked and they just couldn't keep up, which I'm not surprised because there's talk that Ravens could be the best, dominant performer in the NFL, the best team in the NFL right now. The only thing is that they hurt themselves. And as a Ravens fan myself, I can agree. The only team we can lose to is ourselves, and that's what has happened, and that's why we needed this performance game. We needed a win over the Browns. We needed to prove that we can gain the lead and keep it. That is something that we needed to do, and we proved that. We needed to prove that we are not frauds, that we can actually perform, our team can do well, and that we can't mess it up. That was a lot of people's concern when it came to this game, is that number one, will we do good? And number two, if we gain the lead, can we keep it? And we did prove that. But we need to do that all year. So I'm hoping that we can keep with this ball rolling, keep doing what we're doing, have performances like this, and we could just do our thing. We could just do our thing. We got to keep this up. We got to just keep going. Also, another side note is that I seen that Joe Burrow had some kind of injury. I'm not really sure what kind of injury it was, but one thing I do know is that they were in talks that it's a concerning injury, and it's an injury that could put him out for maybe the entire season, which is insane to me, because like their team revolves around Joe Burrow. Like, Joe Burrow is MVP contender. He's an MVP candidate the way that he plays. And this team will be devastated without Joe Burrow. I'm not going to say they're going to be completely trash without him, but he is a very key puzzle to this team. He's versatile in any way. Like, he can throw the ball with the best of them, with Patrick Mahomes, with Lamar Jackson. Like I said, the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Chiefs are the best 3 AFC teams in the AFC. So to hear that this injury that Joe Burrow's going through is kind of devastating, and you don't really want to lose your starting quarterback ever. So let's hope that this doesn't impact the team in too bad. You know what I'm saying? For the any Bengals fans out there, you know what I'm saying? You don't really want this to happen to your starting quarterback. He's too good to lose. He's very too good to lose, okay? And his age too is very young, so, and he's just getting started. And this is a very devastating loss to the team. I hope he can recover very soon, very quick. Hopefully he won't be out for too long. Let's just hope that he can recover and he can start playing as soon as possible. Now, let's talk about anime news. Now, really the only topic that I have to cover this is Demon Slayer. Now, the movie Infinity Castle just came out. It just came out, and it's already the biggest topic when it comes to anime. You can't escape this movie. Everywhere you see, everyone on social media is talking about the movie. This movie might have been one of the biggest movies of all time when it comes to animated movies. I haven't seen it yet. I still haven't seen it yet. I know I covered this movie or this topic last week, but you just can't escape it. And it's crazy. And now that it's finally out, it's just blown up even more. The Demon Slayer movie gets referenced by Clash Royale. Now that might not seem much, but Clash Royale is like one of the biggest video game franchises ever. So the fact that Clash Royale referenced the Demon Slayer movie, it just shows how much impact that this movie is having on the theaters right now, how much popularity that this anime and the franchise as a whole is influenced a lot of media. Now, I don't know how they referenced it. I don't know if they put any like type of skin in the game, or if they just made like a post about it, or any type of promotional material. But regardless, to get referenced by one of the top video game franchises ever, it's a big accomplishment. And Demon Slayer is already one of the biggest animes ever, so I'm not surprised that this happened. Jujutsu Kaisen season 3, in my opinion, has the potential to be the best season. I don't know if it will be the last season. I don't think it will, considering where in the trailer, considering where the anime is in terms of the manga. I feel like they may be one more season after this, but I'm not sure. Rumor dates is November 7th. I don't know. I don't know if that's official. That's just a rumor date. So look out for November 7th. But like I said, it's not set in stone. So take that with a grain of salt as you will. But I am looking forward to Jujutsu Kaisen. It should be a great season. I did read ahead in the manga. I know the manga's finished, so Jujutsu Kaisen is over. We're just waiting for the anime to catch up. I did read ahead in the manga, so I do know what's going on, so I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. But just know that it is going to be a good season. If the season does it right, which they will do it right, especially the artwork. They always do their thing when it comes to the artwork and the way the visuals look. I just hope the fight scenes are going to be amazing. Oh, and that's one thing I glossed over. I skipped over the fact that in this Demon Slayer movie, the one thing that I've heard that it gets high praise is the fight scenes. Demon Slayer has one of the most unique fighting scenes, fighting styles in the game. The way they fight with the swords and the breathing techniques and all that stuff is very unique. So I'm not surprised that the fighting scenes went off and it went crazy stupid in this movie. That's probably one of the biggest highlights in the movie. The fights combined with the Demon Slayer graphics, because Demon Slayer is like one of the prettiest animes ever, the way the visuals look. And I remember when Demon Slayer first came out, people were hating on it just because of the way it looked. So I know that these fight scenes look amazing. For me personally though, I might just have to wait until they adapt it into an arc, but who knows when that's gonna be. This movie has estimated to earn 500 million in box office. Now take that number in 500 million. This movie has the potential to be one of the best animated movies ever. It really does have that potential. It's crazy. Yeah, the amount of money that they earn from the box office. Now the box office, if you don't know, the box office doesn't really have total numbers in it. It just, maybe it does like first 3 days or first week. So those numbers, that 500 million is just the estimate to what they have for the first like couple of days to a week. So obviously in terms of total sales, it's going to do more numbers than that, which is also insane because 500 million is already crazy enough. So the fact that this movie can do even more, man, it just speaks to, really, this just speaks to how much anime has impacted the world, really. I already went on a tangent on last episode about how anime is bringing people together, but I don't really want to go on a tangent like that again. I already did it last week. And the trajectory in terms of box office sales, what this movie is planning on reaching is 700 million. Honestly, it could do it. I'm not surprised that going into the trajectory of what this movie can do is 700 million. Peak, will it be peak? Will 700 be the peak of its sales? I mean, it's really kind of hard to say. I really don't know, but 700 million is what this movie is projected to do in total. This movie also had a budget of $20 million, which me personally is a lot when it comes to, making a movie or stuff, especially when it comes to animated movies, because though animation is not that hard, I mean, it's not easy to do, especially when it comes to money wise as well. So you need a lot of funding, a lot of that. So 20 million, that's how much was put into this movie. I can guarantee you this movie will make that and more. It will just completely blow out the water expectations. Like, this movie is gonna make way more than $20 million. I could just tell. But let me know if you've seen this Demon Slayer movie, what you think of it without spoiling it, of course. Is it worth a watch? Did you have fun with it? And who's your favorite character in Demon Slayer? Who's your favorite character overall? Let me know. To end off this anime segment, I do want to talk about my manga. So chapter 2 is officially out. It dropped yesterday, and hopefully you can check that out if you're interested. That will be a link in the description to the official website to support if you want to do that. Also, I have a official YouTube page. I'll leave that into the link in the description. If you want to check that out, I will be dropping reviews and breakdown videos to the manga. If you're interested, go check that out as well. I will appreciate it if you do. This has been the 3Cast signing out.